You, as a clerk to all these different types of people, did you observe other clerks make mistakes about the council that they recommended? Did they fall into any traps of siding more with wanting to have council do a particular kind of work and then maybe excluding others? In other words, were you able, as a clerk yourself, to be able to say, I can look at all these different people, see all their different strengths, I know exactly which kinds of briefs they need to work with? Did you conversely see with other clerks that they didn't always work that way?
Yes, years ago, and not the present ones, but and I'm certainly not going to name names, but that can actually hurt your floor enormously. And I did see it happen on quite a few occasions, and that's a very good question, where clerks gave a brief to one of their council who was doing it a bit tough, but was no good in that area. And after that, the solicitor would be that incensed that that floor would never get work again. So everybody else on the floor suffers. So that happened on quite a few occasions. That's why I really tried to not do that, just to make sure that the floor kept up the reputation that they'd built up over the years.
So at any stage were you ever an agony aunt? Or were you able somehow, and I imagine you would have done it in a very nice way, to sort of keep yourself a little bit detached from them all, no matter how you felt personally about some of them in terms of their skills and acumen?
Correct. That is one of the most important things in the way a clerk works. If you become too friendly with any one, two or three, invariably the others get upset because they can see it happening, and that is a recipe for disaster. You get camps, the floor will be divided, so you've got to be friends with everyone, and that's it.
It's a good way to be, and I suspect that's the recipe for your success for all these years. I just wanted to go back to a moment. You mentioned the Marx brothers. They were alluded to by one person I interviewed as the 5 percenters. Yeah. And were they people whose attributes you ever sought to emulate in any way?
No way.
I thought you were going to say that.
No. To be honest, no. That's all I'll say.
Fair enough too. Another person that you were just describing a moment ago, I was just interested to know about, am I right about this, is Smacker McCarthy?
Yeah.
Or you haven't actually alluded to him yet, have you?
No, Smacker McCarthy was the list clerk in the undefinitive divorce list. So we'd go up there and he'd be saying numbers 48 to 62 are all in tomorrow, and then you knew exactly that, if you were in that list, that you'd come back. But he always had a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, and a real character. And you might be able to talk him out of putting it in if your counsel, because they were undefended divorces, so you might be able to ask him to hold back number 28 until tomorrow, but only for one day. That's how it used to work.
Why was he called Smacker?
I think, the old Australian nicknames. I think one of the old clerks, his name, I do forget his first name. Everybody just knew him as Smacker McCarthy.
Did you get a nickname?
No.
Not as far as you know, that is.
No. I might have one that I'm quite sure I have, but not as far as I know.